Hey everybody, Coach here. Welcome to this week's episode. Coming to you from the jungle of New Hampshire. A very wet jungle it has been the past 36 hours. Hey, anyway, I am here to talk to you this week about planning your fall landscape project, should you choose to do one. Right now, it is the heat of summer. We are talking mid-July, but now is the time to plan out and get ready for that fall landscape project. Do not put it off. Do not wait until September or October and go, hey, I know what I want to do this Saturday. Nope, today is the day you should take action. And I'll tell you why in this week's episode. As I have stated time and time again, planning is everything to the successful DIY landscape project, especially hitting a hard start date and knowing what you need to do between now and that start date down the road. This is especially true for you DIYers out there. If this is not your full-time career, then heck, life kind of gets in the way a little bit. You have your full-time job, you have the kids, you have family, you have all these things that go on, and now you're going to do a DIY landscape makeover and thread and weave all of the necessities of that project into your daily life. So having that plan in place, and when I say plan, we're talking about all the little elements of a project ready to go and in a sequential order so that your project, whether it be your first or your 10th, is going to flow properly and is going to be enjoyable for all of those concerned. So once again, here we are in mid-July, 60 days. 60 days in a contracting world is a blink of an eye. But to DIYers, 60 days or more is a long time to wait when you get impatient and you want to get a project started. But be patient, and I'll tell you why. That's what this week's episode is all about, planning out your fall landscape makeover project. So I'm glad you're here. Let's get this ball rolling and looking forward to this video. Hey, I'm Matt. You can call me Coach. Every week I bring to you landscape design concepts and theories, practical applications, and DIY concepts so you can take on a landscape project yourself, get professional results doing it yourself, save a whole lot of money in the process, and just as importantly, be a lot more self-reliant in this day and age. You know, dang, after a 20-plus year career in the green industry as a self-employed landscape designer, contractor, retail nursery manager, educator, and educated in ornamental horticulture, I feel like I can really bring a lot of knowledge and experience to you, the new, modern, educated, self-reliant homeowner of today. You know, it is not in a DIYer's daily world, unless you are a contractor of one kind or another, to sit down and really timeline a project out. Say you're in the computer industry. Maybe you're not a builder, maybe you're in sales. Maybe you're in the medical field. There's a lot of things where planning obviously still comes into play, but maybe not so much when it comes to planning an outdoor landscape project and lining not only your life up, but maybe any professionals that you're going to be bringing in to help you. Sometimes it can feel kind of cumbersome or even awkward. Sometimes people who are not really gregarious or assertive have a hard time calling people, strangers up, and inviting them to their home and asking them for estimates. Sometimes it's not that easy. That's why everybody in the world likes to do this as a part of doing business, which is nothing wrong with that. But then when you don't hear from somebody, maybe you email ABC company and you're looking for some underground electrical work for your landscape project. And a few days goes by and you don't hear nothing. So much for the email. So then maybe you get assertive. You pick up the phone and you call and you talk to somebody. And that person says, well, you need to talk to Joe. Joe is the one that gives all the estimates. Okay, when can I talk to Joe? Well, if you leave me your name and number, I'll get back to you. And you don't hear from Joe. Why? Because ABC company is overwhelmed with work and they're not hungry. So how do you go about getting a hold of people, getting them in front of your face or at least on the phone, and being able to do business? This is where a fall landscape project starts right now, because these things happen. Not everybody is super accountable calling people back. Not after 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours of crawling around in attics or digging trenches or whatever do people get right back to you. Sometimes life gets in the way, which is one of the things we're talking about in this video. But for the sake of time and this particular episode, I want to make some calculated assumptions here for your fall landscape project, okay? Now they're just assumptions, so don't hold it in stone or put my neck on the guillotine on this, okay? All right, number one, you as the homeowner will be doing some, if not almost all, of the landscape project. Number two, you will have some professional help in the form of designing, maybe cement work, maybe electrical, maybe structural, like a patio cover or something, maybe a new shed you're putting in the corner, some kind of professional help. One of the big three, you've allocated funding for this already. You're not starting to go down this road and still have not determined how you are going to pay for all of this, either as a DIY project or a combo hybrid project where you're having other help. Guarantee you, businessmen coming to your house more than ever this day and age want to know how you plan on paying for something. They don't want to be run around the maypole when they don't know how you're gonna write it. You're gonna write a bum check, you're going to put it on a credit card, you're gonna be paying cash. It all depends. And a businessman is gonna want to know, how would you like to pay for this, Mrs. Jones? Another important one for your fall landscape project is that you already have, or you have access to, the proper tools it's going to take to do this job right and do it right the first time. And finally, either by watching yours truly, by having done other things, you have the skills. You have the skills, you have the fortitude, you have the creativity, and most importantly, the perseverance to start, dig in, and complete this project and not give up, despite some hurdles that you may come up against. For the sake of conversation, we're going to say that you want to start in the third week of September-ish, because fall is a little different depending on where you live. Up north, fall is in full swing in the third week of September. Leaves are coloring up, temperatures are cooling off, and it's time to get busy. Now, if you're in southern Alabama, however, the third week of September, it's probably still 90 plus degrees and 90% humidity. Fall hasn't quite reached you yet. So maybe your fall project down there is going to be closer to Thanksgiving or so-ish. You've decided to do the demolition yourself, save a few $1,000s, and you're going to get out there and have it done before anybody else starts in. So, what have you done to prepare and plan for that day, days, or week? And in this demolition process, what, through your sketch, plan, or design, what have you decided to leave, if anything? And if you have left things, how are they going to be amended or changed as a result of your new landscape plan? So let's be clear on a couple of things. You have created that design of which you can follow and others can follow should you turn it over to somebody so they may estimate it. It has to be relatively close to scale, because if you're asking a cement finisher to pour you a new patio and some walkways, he's going to want to know the dimensions. If you hand him that plan and it's not to scale and this is what you're asking him to estimate, you're going to have problems when the project from that professional gets started. You've established that budget. Another biggie is you have congruency with everybody involved. And guys, you know who I'm talking about, don't you? As you get within a day or two of your demolition, your launch date, you have acquired all the necessary receptacles, 1, 2, or more, of landscape debris haul-off capabilities, whether they be drop boxes, dumpsters, or you have dump trailers or something that you can haul this material off as it accumulates. Don't let it pile up to where you have double duty. And just as important, you have established a timeline, written down somewhere on a whiteboard, in a computer, on a piece of paper. You've written down what your part of the project is going to be, where it is on that timeline, and then where your professionals are going to come in. Now you want to schedule it so that you're not working on top of your subcontractors and they are not working or pushing you around, because you are the boss, you're writing the checks, and you have other things going on in your life besides just this project. You can see how 60 days could get eaten up really, really fast. Time really flies when the planning starts and you have protracted out 2 or 3 weeks worth of estimate gatherings, designing, measuring, going out and doing recon work on plant material and hardscape materials, boulders, lighting, water features, whatever you're planning on putting in. You have gone out and researched all this, brought it into a nucleus, and now you know that you can afford all the things that you've gone out and looked for. You have gone out and gathered all this and gathered it into a budgetary nucleus that you know and your significant other knows you can afford it. You're ready to move forward. Having that plan and that schedule and the ever-present eye on the ball once you get started is going to ensure a constant forward progress of the project so that it'll be brought to completion without a lot of migraine headache. Now, caveat. With that being said, can life get in the way? Hell yes, life can get in the way. If this is not your wheelhouse, not your bailiwick, not your industry, and you're doing something outside your comfort zone for the first time or two, there will be some toe stubbing along the way. You have to expect it. For instance, what happens if you get all the demolition done? It's all done. You've got it down to exactly where you want to start rebuilding. And you're going, Joe will be here on Monday so we can start forming up that patio and getting that walkway in so we can get things back to normal here. Joe doesn't call. You call Joe. He never returns your calls. You email him. He doesn't return your email. You text him. He doesn't return. Now what? You're in contract with Joe the cement guy and you're waiting for him. Now what are you going to do? How are you going to work in and around this toe stubbing episode right there? All of a sudden, your project is going to grind to a halt unless you do the Marine way and overcome and adapt. As you are trying to continue to get a hold of that particular subcontractor, you move forward. Move forward with some of your underground work. Get some drain lines and irrigation in. Get some lighting cable down and in. Maybe some underground electrical conduit that's going out to the outdoor kitchen or to the water feature. And you keep moving your project forward all the while you're trying to get a hold of Joe. Maybe Joe had a death in the family. Maybe Joe died. Maybe Joe whatever you do, don't allow your project to come to a grinding halt. You can still do many things for a period of time to keep that project moving forward. And as you have adapted and overcome, maybe you have to find another subcontractor to complete this portion that Joe flaked on. And that's not impossible, it's just a headache, and that's all part of doing it yourself. Either as your own contractor, like this video right here suggested last week, or you're doing it all yourself, but you want somebody to do that cement finish that you just don't have the skill set to do at this point in time. It happens, and sometimes, to be really honest, sometimes it happens all too frequently. There are good honest, hard-working contractors out there that you can rely on. I have known dozens over the years. And then there are the others, the ones that skate on by, that don't have the best reputation, that have complaints filed against them, have been sued. So when you've done your due diligence in your estimate gathering, make sure you choose wisely. As the old bumper sticker says, shit happens, and sometimes you really have to be able to adjust and flex and be able to do the things that you can do while still trying to move the project forward at all times. This is where that perseverance really comes in. And this is where professional contractors always have a Rolodex of plan A, plan B, and plan C friends in the business, where that if one flakes or something goes wrong, they can go to plan B. And I really suggest you think about that as well. You know, for the average backyard residential makeover, something that is 65 feet wide by 35 feet deep, you can expect a professional to come in on Monday morning with demolition and plow through, and oftentimes, if everything was lined up correctly, you'll have a new yard Friday afternoon. For a DIYer, you just can't set the bar quite that high. You could probably expect twice that long, if not 3 times that long. And everything that you have to dovetail into your life and the project and professionals and everything else is a bit of a challenge. But that's why you're saving half the professional cost or more. So be prepared mentally, be prepared physically. If you're not in relatively good shape, start in that 60-day program of maybe strengthening your legs up a little bit, maybe strengthening the arms up a little bit, especially the back a little bit. Start doing some calisthenics. The last thing you want to do is go out on day one in demolition and you wrench your back or you pull a muscle and now you are stuck physically. So make sure you get yourself in a little bit of shape. And who doesn't? I know I could be in better shape than I am. I'm not in landscaping shape anymore, and I know there's a big difference between going to the gym and being in landscaping shape. It's quite different. So to sum it up, fall. Fall is the #1 time a year to plan and execute a landscape makeover project. There is no better season. The temperatures are cooling off. The days are shorter. Plants can get in the ground and still get established before the harsh winter descends on it. Then it has all winter to winter over, acclimate to where it's at, and then just erupt in the springtime with a good established landscape. So remember these points. #1, 60 days minimum. 60 days to plan, design, attain estimates, establish budgets, establish materials, and have it ready to go when you're ready to go. Remember, pros have schedules too. Just because you call them on Monday, don't expect them to be available that week. Don't expect them to be available next month. A good, successful contractor is in demand all the time. Also remember, in the fall, in the nursery industry, plant availability starts to trickle down. And so if you have a plant list that you want to gather for your project, that 60 days is a great time to go out and find the materials, or turn that finding of the materials over to your local mom and pop nursery where they can make the calls and bring these items in, sometimes through special order, so it's ready to go for you when you're ready to get it in the ground. Another thing, and lastly, that I'll leave you with is attain some help. Not necessarily professional help. Say like you have a demolition weekend on launch date. It is great to have some family and friends to come over and help you lighten that load. You don't have to put it all on your shoulders if you have a circle of influence that you can call upon. Maybe you have a friend that has a bobcat. Maybe you have a friend that has a chainsaw. Maybe you have a bunch of buddies that you have in, does anybody bowl anymore? I don't know. You have buddies in your workplace that say, hey, you know, John, Joe, Bill, and Robert, can you come over and give me a hand Saturday? I'm ripping the backyard out. Everybody can have beer and burgers afterwards. Do that several weeks in advance so that you have that help. And I'll tell you what, there is nothing that makes it more enjoyable and more fun to make sure that your family is involved. Take pictures, take video, and start making some memories, and make this an enjoyable thing and not a toil or a troublesome project. And that's where all the planning and everything comes into play. Another thing is stay positive, stay focused, and stay strong. Make sure that at all costs you're moving the project forward and you don't get stalled. Even if you come up against something you're not sure how to do it, you can always email me. You can look at YouTube. You can call a pro in if you bust a pipe somewhere and you need it fixed. But make sure you get on it and you secure that constant, ever forward motion of your project. It'll build your confidence rapidly and you will ensure success. When it's all done and you've brought this project home, you've put that last wheelbarrow of mulch on and everything is brand new, time to celebrate. Everybody in your household will really enjoy it, and I'm sure your family and friends and neighbors will enjoy seeing your DIY project itself. So, as I mentioned before, make sure you take some photos, make sure you take some videos, not just at the end, but throughout the project, and I'll tell you why. It is a great way later on down the road that you're going to do a new project, or maybe a new homeowner is going to move into your house and you're moving on and up. It's a great way to locate various underground elements of that landscape. You know where the irrigation pipes are traveling, you can see where the gravel and underground drainage was done, and where the cabling has been laid for your lighting system or your underground electric or your gas lines. A really great way to not only document the project for your own enjoyment, but also later on for relocation of underground elements. So, if anything, follow some sage advice from Coach. You are spending thousands, in some cases tens of thousands of dollars on this project. Make sure you've planned it out, scheduled it out, and make sure you have an outcome that reflects the investment that you're making. You know, landscape has a great return on investment as far as the property values of your home. So make sure you do it and you do it right the first time. No double doing, no double costs. We want to do it right. And the way it's going to happen is by that 60-day plan or longer. The more we educate ourselves in advance, the better empowerment and abilities we're going to have when we take on this project. Heck, that's why I give you guys the 15-step DIY checklist. It's why I offer you the Landscaping Simplified ebook at a super, super reasonable price. And I've got the DIY course, of which you would save easily by taking that course in investing in yourself, doing the project yourself. So think about that. The email is always listed in the description below. So that's it for this week, guys. Don't forget to check out the website, and I will catch you guys next week as always on Friday. And oh, by the way, we have our winners. We have our winners of our Landscaping Simplified giveaway, and you will see it right here. So thanks for staying with me. I'll catch you guys next Friday as always. If you got that fall project, now's the time to start thinking about it and get it underway, at least on paper. See you next week.